All right. Well, hey, let's bring Craig in from the CTU economist Craig Renney with us. Craig, good evening to you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, now Chloe's about to leave us and go and do real work, I think, not like what we do. But Chloe, even you said, Craig, great to have Craig here about Haifu and to talk about it. Is there anything you want to ask him or mention to him or point to him before we say goodbye?
Something that I would love to set Craig up with, because I think that it would be really useful to have his explanation for in a way that makes sense to the average person, is the way that unemployment is baked into the way that this government is doing things. So, I mean, just structural unemployment effectively, and all of the decisions that have been made to cause that unemployment, how that unemployment is then resulting in less tax revenue, both in terms of GST because people don't have the money to spend, but then also obviously in terms of income taxes, and how that is perpetuating and deepening all of the issues that the government is talking about in terms of productivity, but also shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to their arguments around growth.
It's a great question, Chloe. I mean, you're dead right. Unemployment is both a symptom and a cause of the current problems that we have. So unemployment rises to 5.4%. It's actually better than where we thought it was going to be right now about 6 months ago, which means the rise is even quicker than we thought it was going to be 6 months ago. By 2026, we've got 20,000 more people unemployed than we thought we were going to have just 6 months ago. So the rise in unemployment is really quick. And we end up in this loop, this doom loop, right? Where we say, so we don't have enough money, so we're going to cut spending, we're going to cut services. Those cutting of spending, cutting services. So we stop health and education. People don't get well, they don't get trained. Unsurprisingly, they don't get jobs. They don't deliver productivity. We don't deliver growth. We stop investing in schools, hospitals, roads, infrastructure. That then delivers fewer and lower growth, which then means, we've lost some jobs, which then means we've lost enough money to the government. So we better cut again in order to make sure we've got the books balanced. So we cut again, and we then find, hang on a second, there's less tax. There's less tax because there's less growth. There's less growth because there are more people unemployed. So we'd best cut again in order to make sure that we're going to end up with the right amount of money, and so on and so on and so on. Austerity inevitably eats itself. The only time austerity ever works is if you have a big structural change, and that big structural change means there's nothing you can do about it and you just got to cut some things, but you do it in a way that manages to bake in security for those affected workforces and do it in a way that manages that change well. What we're instead seeing is simply more cuts. We're instead seeing more reductions in investment. That's leading, unsurprisingly, to more unemployment, and we just go round the merry-go-round again. And the proof is positive because I'm looking at this lovely document here today. For those of you who have copies at home, and
all
the
of
numbers
us.
don't.
We can both hold ours up.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Sorry, Pat, come on.
I was gonna say, don't lie. You've got yours, Chloe. But the numbers here don't lie, right? They're telling you that the current, the austerity doesn't work. That the program of beatings until morale improves does not work. And so you're really right. What instead we need to be doing is actually investing. We need to be making sure that people have access to training, to skills, to delivering the kinds of, building the housing that we need in this country, delivering the schools, the hospitals, the renewable energy that we need in this country. There's never a cheaper time to do it than in the middle of a recession, which on Thursday we will discover we are in for the third time in a really short period of time. I come from the country that has destruction tested this, and we're going to very painfully learn the lessons again unless we choose to change course. Unfortunately, in this document, the budget policy statement,
it's not fair.
love you. The budget policy statement, they're actually saying they're going to double down.
Yeah.
That they're going to deliver fresh rounds of cuts on top of the ones that are already there. That government departments should expect another year of zero increases to their budgets, which means real terms cuts, new real terms cuts on top of the real terms cuts they've already had. And again, we just go round the merry-go-round. So it's not great news, and a bit like, I've been caught by the sun today, and over the weekend, the books here are as red as you can possibly imagine. So it's not great news, and we can do so much better.
You can see, Chloe, why Nikki Noboats was scared to have him in the actual Haufu lockup, can't you?
Oh yeah. But I mean, that I think is one of the most profound things that I have realized about the way that this government is operating. And I would actually point this out about our Prime Minister. I think that, because I've spent a long time, again, to that point earlier around, I really try and understand the political strategy and try and take a good faith approach to understand where people are coming from in this stuff. And I was trying to understand why the Prime Minister hates being asked questions so much. And I think it's potentially just that CEO energy that comes from having been an employer in these, middle management, large organizations where you're an employer, you stand in front of your employees, you say, this is the way that the world works, and everyone says, thank you, we still have our jobs. I think that in this situation, being a Prime Minister and having to be accountable to the people of this country, whether it be through the opposition asking questions in question time, or journalists asking questions in lockups, or in the 4 p.m.s on Monday after cabinet, post-cab, that he doesn't feel like he needs to. He feels like that's just all he needs to do is to will something into being. But as Craig is really rightfully pointing out here, the numbers don't lie. The government is knowingly making decisions to deepen this recession and to make people suffer more. The government has knowingly made decisions. It's on regulatory impact statements on a bajillion different things, whether it's from the official advice that was on the emissions reduction plan, which says that it's going to cost the lowest income New Zealanders 4 times as much money as the wealthiest, whether you're talking about some of their budgetary decisions around benefits or otherwise, which will knowingly place thousands more children in poverty. This government is knowingly making decisions to increase inequality and to increase climate changing emissions, which are also terrible feedback loops which compound each other. And I guess if I can leave you guys with anything before you get into the detail of it all with Craig, it's that a different world is possible. Different decisions can be made. It can be incredibly depressing to realize that there are people in charge of this country right now who are making decisions to knowingly make things worse while telling you the opposite. Yeah. But it can also be incredibly liberating to realize that you are not crazy and that in fact, this is the reality and we can make different decisions. And the final thing to say is that the right really want us to conceptualize of the state as this thing to kind of put over there and see as separate from everything that the rest of us do. But the state is all of us. It is a functioning democracy. It is the infrastructure that everybody relies on. The notion of being self-made is completely ridiculous. Even those who could potentially claim to have come up with an idea in a vacuum still rely on the legal system to enforce their contracts, which is paid for by our taxes. And they still use our roads and they still rely on law enforcement and otherwise. So if I can leave you with anything, it's all made up. We can make different decisions. It can be remade, and the state is all of us.
Yeah. All right, Chloe. Hey, have a good break, as much of a break as you can get. Thank you for being with us. I don't know if we've actually mentioned it or noticed it, but did you notice Chewie's got he's lit up in green tonight? I can just sure that's a conscious decision. Just,
It's like when the Sky Tower lights up in green, and I'm like, it's for me.
The longer you talk, the greener my room gets.
Hey, Chloe, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations on what you've done this year. Congratulations on the co-leadership. Pass on our best to Marama if you happen to be speaking to her. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and we hope to speak to you again in 2025.
Absolutely, guys. And catch you later, Craig. See you guys.
Chloe.
Thank you. See you.
All the best.